Hello friends, in this video we are going to learn about how we can create one-to-one, one-to-many and many-to-many relationships. After that we are going to learn how we can select columns from relation tables, and then we use some conditions, and after that we will learn how we can do aggregate functions. So let's start with the video. Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to learn about Laravel relationships in depth. I have created this school management database in my Laravel project, which have classes, teachers, students and subjects. All of them have relationship with each other. As you guys can see, each student can take multiple classes and each class have multiple subjects. Each subject have a grade with a student ID, and also student and teachers, both of them have a user in our system. So without wasting any time, let's go to VS Code and start. So let's start by creating our students relationship in the models. For that I will come to app models and my students model. In here, first of all, let's see our we will create the relationship between the student and the users, which have one-to-one. So let's go, and in here I will type public function user method, and inside this I will return this belongs to my user model colon class, and my foreign key, which is user ID. So let's go and create the route for this. Route get relation, and I will choose my students controller colon class, my method name, which is just for example I will type here show. Now let's go to inside our students controller and create this method. I will type public function show, and in here I will make a variable. I will call my students model with the new relationship that I have created, which is, let's copy user and paste it here, get. I want to fetch all the students with their users name. Okay, let's return this variable, and let's also serve our Laravel PHP artisan serve, enter. Let's go to this link, and in here I will type show. Oh sorry, my route name is relation. Okay, so we got all our students. Now if we open them, we can see we have their users also. If I open this, and we can see the users also. So this is the method that we can create one-to-one relationship. Each of my students have one user, so we will type belongs to. Let's see our diagram also. As you guys can see, in my students table I have user ID. So in here I have foreign key, and the primary key is in here. So I wrote it here that this belongs to users table. So we have learned. Now let's go back to our diagram. So now let's see how we can create a relation of one-to-many with the students and grades. Each of my students have multiple grades, and so let's go to our students model, and below users let's type public function grades, and in here I will say $return this. And now in here, instead of belongs to, I will type has many. I will type my model name, which is grades colon class, and my foreign key, which is student ID. Now let's go back to controller. In here I will type, add a comma, and I will type grades, my relationship name. Let's copy this so you guys can see exactly as it is. Now let's go to browser. Now let's refresh our page. So as you guys can see, now we have our students with their user and also with multiple grades. So as if I open a grade, you guys can see subject student ID and subject ID with a grade. If I open this one, same. If I open this one, also you guys can see this one have multiple subjects, and each subject, if I open, it have a different grades. Now let's see our diagram. So we have learned how we can create one-to-one relationship with students and users, and also one-to-many relationship with students and grades. Now let's see how we can create one-to-many with the help of this middle table from students and classes, because each students can have multiple classes and each class can have multiple students on it. So let's go back to our VS Code and create our many-to-many relationship students and class. So for that, in here I will type public function classes return doesn't this belongs to many. Now my mode which is classes, my model name classes colon class, and now in here I will type this table name, this middle one, which connects these two together, which is class students. So let's type this here, class students. After that I will type the student ID foreign key, which is student ID, and my classes foreign key, which is class underscore ID. So first parameter and belongs to my many is your model name, then the table that connects these two together, which is this one class students. The third parameter is your students foreign key, and in the last parameter is your classes foreign key. So now let's go to back to our controller, and in here let's call this relationship also, save, go back to our browser, refresh our page. Now if I open any of my students, you guys can, let me do like this. If I open this one, now you guys can see I have already get the the class also with this student. So I have users, grades, classes with this. So this is the way that we create many-to-many relationship. In the one-to-one we use belongs to, in one-to-many we use has many, and in the many-to-many we use belongs to many. So with the help of students table, we were able to fetch users, grades and classes. Now we also want to fetch teachers and subjects also. So let's see how we can do it. Let's go to our classes model here. In here first of all I want to fetch the teachers, so I will type public function teachers, and I will say return this belongs to my teacher model and the foreign key. as you guys can see in this diagram, each class has single teacher. Now let's go and fetch the students. So the same thing that we did in the students, we are going to write the exactly same with a little bit difference. So public function students, and in here return and this belongs to money. Now if we go to teachers, if we go to students, in here we wrote classes. So actually let's copy this completely, come here and paste it here in the state of classes. Now I want to connect classes with the students, so I will type student model here, students, and this will be same, just I will change the places of this to this last parameter, two last parameters. That's it. And another thing, my classes have subjects, multiple subjects. So let's do that. I will type public function subjects, and in here I will say return $, this belongs to money, my subject model class, and my middle table, which is class subjects. I will type class subjects. Now my class ID, which is this one, class ID, then student ID, class ID, and student, subject ID. Okay, now let's go to our controller. This time I will comment this out, and in here I will type items is equal to classes with my relationships. So let's see, teachers, students, and subjects. Let's copy them and paste them here. This one also make it as an string, and at the end get. Okay, now let's go back to browser, refresh. So now as you guys can see, I can get all my classes with teacher, which I have with students, and it have that many students and that many subjects it have. So this is the way we created our classes relationship. So if I come back to my diagram, you guys can see now I am able to fetch subjects, I am able to fetch teachers. So now let's go back to students table. In here, for example, if I want to fetch classes with teachers, let's see how we can do that. So students, from student to class students, then classes, then teachers. So let's see how we can fetch that. It's very simple. Okay, I will comment this out now here. So I will come to classes, copy this relationship that I created, teachers, copy this and paste here dot teachers. So now let's go and refresh our page. So as you guys can see, student, classes, in the classes we have something new, teachers. If I open it, I get the information of the teachers. So this is how we can fetch for example second level relationship. Now if we want to fetch third level, like from student to classes, from classes teachers, and from teachers if I want to fetch users, let's see how we can fetch that. So similarly I have to first create the relationship with the teacher and user. So let's copy it from the students. Here we have already made it. It's exactly like this. Copy, paste here. Now let's go back to our controller. So from students we get classes, from classes we get teachers, and from teachers what I want is user. It's user or users, yeah, user. So now let's go back and refresh our page. So now if you guys can see, it's teachers. Now we also have user also of this teacher. So this is the way we go in multiple steps. For example, classes, then teachers, then users. So let's go back to our diagram. In here we have learned that how we can go from students to class to teachers to users. Now what if I want to fetch the classes with teacher, users and subjects also? If I add here, let's go to our classes. If I copy subjects in here, and if I add dot, one more dot here, save it, refresh our page, as you guys can see, it gives me this error. It says call to undefined relationship subject or model app users. The reason is the dot that I added after the user, it goes to my users model here, and in here it search for the subject relationship, which I don't have. I have the subject relationship with class. So let's see how we can fetch all of them, like teachers, students and users with the classes. To do that, I will come down here and create another with, and I will open an array, write my first relationship classes in arrow key function, and inside this function I will send query as a parameter. Then inside this method I will return query. Now with teacher dot student, I will cut it from here and paste it here, then comma subjects, cut it here. Now let's delete this, I don't need this one, add semicolon. Okay, so let's go back and refresh our page. Okay, now if I go to classes, from this is the students, I have users, grades, and now classes. The classes, as you guys can see, I have the teachers relationship and also the subjects in here. So this is the way we can get two or multiple relationships of a class. So to fetch this, we have to just create a new with, and inside that array our relationship, which is classes, student, this one, then function query and return it like with this. So up to now we have learned how we can fetch all the relationships. Now what I want to is to, if I go back to the browser, in here you guys can see it brings all the columns which are in the table. That's, I don't want that all to bring all the columns. I want to bring only specific columns. So let's see how we can do that. For that, let's say, for example, in the user I want ID and name. I will just add colon, then column name. If I want another column, comma, then column name. Similarly for here also in the user I want only ID and name. For the subject, let's see our database which columns they have. For example, if I come to subject, I only want its name, so I will type colon id and name. For the grades also, let's for the grade I also want the grade, so I will type here student id and grade. So now let's go and refresh our page. Let's save and refresh. So as you guys can see in the grades, I got a student id with the grade. Also in the user, if I open it, I got only name, and the classes teachers, if I open this, I got only id and name. So this is how we can fetch specific columns by typing a single colon in front of our relationship with the column name separated by comma. So let's start with the conditions. Let's open the diagram. Now imagine if you want to fetch all the students which have class. Currently if I go here and open let's say for example this, we see it brought all the students, even those that don't have classes. For example this one, as you can see, there is no class, this student doesn't have any class. Or if I go here, this one also it's empty, but this one have. So let's see how we can get all the classes, all the students which have class. So for that, in here I will type where has and my relation name. So I want to check the classes that they have class. I will paste it here. Now let's go back to our browser, refresh our page. So now if we check all of them, we can see that each of them have class. Let me do it like this. So currently there are 17, but if I remove this, my total students are 20. So let's put it back. So this condition only brings those students which have classes. So if I go refresh, and now 17, you can see all the students have classes. Now imagine if you want to fetch those students which don't have any classes. So let's see how we can do that. For that, instead of where has, we will type where doesn't have this one. Yeah, so I want to show all the students which they don't have any classes. Let's go back to browser, refresh our page. So as you guys can see, these three don't have any class. So empty class, this one also empty, and this one also empty. They don't have any classes. Now imagine I want to bring all the students which are belongs to a single class. So let's see how we can do that. Fetch all the students which are classmates. So for that, I will comment this out and I will write here where has my relationship name, which is classes, and after I will add comma and a callback function with a query as a parameter. Under this method, I will return $query and my condition. For example, where name, let's go here. Okay, let me comment this out. Let's copy a class name from here. For example, this class, let me copy, okay, and comment where name equal to this. Okay, so right now we fetch all the students which are in this class. So let's go refresh our browser. Now as you guys can see, these two students, both of them are in the same class, this one, and also if I open this class, this, both of them are in the same class. So that's how we get it. And also imagine I want to fetch those students which have grade of 80 in any subject or more than 80 in a single subject. So let's see how we can do that. For that, let's just copy this. I will comment. I will again type where has classes, my relationship name, and in the state of name I will type grade, which is my column name, and another condition, comma here with grade greater than 80. So it will bring only those students which have more than 80 in any subject. Let's refresh. Let's do it like this, and if I come to grade, the grade, as you guys can see, it brought those students which have more than 80. So this is the conditions. You can write your conditions like these. We are has, and where doesn't have, where has, which is used for to fetch those records which have a relationship, where doesn't have, opposite of where has. And if you want to write a custom condition, you can write it like this. So now let's see how we can do aggregate functions. For example, if I want to get the max, min, average of grades table, so let's see how we can do that. First of all, in here, if I want to take a sum of the grades, I will type with sum, and the first parameter will be our relationship name, which is grades, and the second parameter is the column name, which in this case is grade. Similarly, we can do also with average, with avg, which gives us the average value. And also if I do with count, it will count, but in this I only have to write the table name, the relationship name, nothing else. And the thing that we have with max, and also with min, which brings the smallest number. So let's save these changes and go back to browser, refresh our page. So as you guys can see, we got for each student we got the sum, average, count, max, and min grades. This is the way that we can get the aggregate functions. So this is it for this video, and I hope you like it, and please don't forget to press the subscribe button, and see you guys in the next video.